I never thought I'd reach the point where I would look at my wife and feel like a stranger in my own home. My name is Daniel, I'm 34, and I've been married to Sarah for 6 years. We met back when we were both broke and living paycheck to paycheck, surviving on instant noodles and shared dreams. I worked my way up in finance, pulling late nights, grinding through certifications, and eventually landing a job that paid more than I ever thought possible. Sarah, to her credit, supported me in those early years, working part-time and keeping us afloat. But somewhere along the line, things changed. As the money started flowing, Sarah stopped working. She said she wanted to focus on herself, on becoming the best version of me. I didn't mind. I wanted her to feel happy and fulfilled. I bought her the yoga classes, the spa memberships, the designer bags. It made me feel like a good husband. Then intimacy began to fade. Slowly at first, fewer hugs, kisses that felt more like polite gestures than passion, excuses about being tired or stressed. I told myself it was just a phase, that she'd come around. But months turned into years, and intimacy became something I had to beg for. One night, after yet another rejection, I told her I was starting to feel unwanted, like I was just a walking wallet to her. She rolled her eyes, sat back on the couch, and said the sentence that would flip my entire world upside down. "It's my body, Daniel. You don't get anything from me unless I feel like it." Her tone wasn't sad or apologetic. It was dismissive, almost mocking, like I had asked her for something outrageous. Something inside me broke that night. I didn't yell, didn't throw things, didn't even argue. I just nodded and went upstairs, feeling like I had been punched in the chest. Lying awake in bed, I realized I had been financing a lifestyle for a woman who didn't even see me as a partner anymore. And for the first time in years, I thought about what my life would look like if I stopped paying for everything. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to yell, beg, or plead. I wasn't going to sit back and watch my hard-earned money disappear into a lifestyle that didn't include respect or intimacy. I started small. I canceled her spa membership without saying a word. The next day, I refused to pick up the designer bag she had been eyeing for months. Each time she asked, I simply shook my head and walked away. At first, she laughed it off. "Oh, Daniel, don't be silly," she said. "It's just a little inconvenience." But as days turned into weeks, the subtle cracks began to show. Her luxury lunch orders disappeared. The Uber rides and online shopping carts were empty. I watched from a distance, quiet and steady, as she realized her lifestyle wasn't automatic anymore. The first real confrontation came 2 weeks later. She had been out shopping, came home, and found the house quiet. No packages at the door, no credit card receipts scattered on the counter. She looked at me, eyes wide. Why is nothing here?" she asked, a hint of panic in her voice. "I stopped funding the things you don't deserve, Sarah," I said calmly. "It's your choice. You either respect me as a husband, or you live without everything I've been giving you." Her face twisted in disbelief. She accused me of being cruel, controlling, unfair. I listened quietly, saying nothing. I didn't need to argue. Actions speak louder than words. She couldn't understand how someone she had taken for granted had found the courage to draw a line. The shift was immediate. Suddenly, I noticed subtle changes. Her tone softened, her demands became requests, and she started acknowledging things she had never noticed before. A cup of coffee without complaint, a simple thank you, when I prepared dinner. Not everything changed overnight, but the balance of power had begun to shift. For the first time in years, I felt like a partner, not a bank. It wasn't about revenge or punishment. It was about reclaiming respect, setting boundaries, and showing her that intimacy and generosity don't come automatically. Every refusal, every silent withdrawal of funds, every quiet step back was a statement. I would no longer fund a relationship that only served her interests. A month had passed since I stopped funding Sarah's extravagant lifestyle, and the change was undeniable. The house was quieter, calmer. She came home from shopping less frequently, and when she did, she no longer expected me to cover every expense without question. Slowly, she started noticing me again, not just the money I made, but the man I had always been beneath the surface. One evening, she sat down across from me at the dinner table, her hands fidgeting nervously. "Daniel, I didn't realize," she started. her voice softer than it had been in years. I didn't realize how much I depended on you, and how little I appreciated you. I took you for granted. I looked at her, calm but firm. You still have a choice, Sarah. Respect and intimacy are earned. Money can't buy them, and it never should have. She nodded, tears welling up. I get it now. I've been selfish. Her eyes searched mine, and for the first time in a long time, I saw genuine remorse. Not performative, not manipulative. Just the raw recognition of her mistakes. It didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't perfect. We still had arguments, and she still had to earn her way back into the connection we once had. But the dynamic had shifted. I was no longer just the provider. I was a partner whose boundaries were respected, whose presence was valued. That week, she initiated something she hadn't in years. A simple hug, a kiss on the cheek, a conversation about her day instead of scrolling through social media while I sat next to her. I responded with warmth, but I didn't rush to fix or fund anything. Every gesture had to come naturally, earned through respect and mutual care. I realized then that the problem hadn't been about money or luxury. It had been about entitlement, about taking for granted the person who silently carried the weight of the household and the relationship. By stepping back and refusing to support the lifestyle that had become a shield for her disregard, I had forced both of us to confront the truth. A marriage is only as strong as the respect it commands. Sarah learned slowly but surely that love isn't transactional, and neither is intimacy. And I learned that sometimes, the hardest step towards saving a relationship is saying no, not in anger, but with clarity, confidence, and self-respect. From that day forward, we began rebuilding. A marriage based not on what I gave her, but on what we both earned together. A partnership of respect, understanding, and mutual desire.